having a baby today. Well, Scott's wife maybe having a baby today. So he was not going to.
Hold on, 1 second. Am I going to be for that?
Yes. Do I have permission?
No. I'm thinking, okay.
Turd. Anyways. Are you done? Do you have anything else?
No, not right now.
Okay, cool. Perfect. I'm just teasing.
Oh, them too.
So, yeah. So, Eric's going to video so Scott can see it since he's,
Having a kid.
you know, having a baby. But he really thought about it, and then he's like, can you send me whatever I'm missing so I can review it in the hospital? I'm like, why don't you just be with your wife and have a baby? I'm like, you're good. I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll figure this out. That's fun. He just cries. And I think that's all I needed to say. Yes, okay. So Jess and Jon are here. I'll let them kind of introduce themselves and tell a little bit about them. But the exciting news is near Jon's birthday, they're having a baby, so we're pretty excited about that. But gosh, I met you guys 4 years ago, I think. About 4 years ago. So Shannon.
We've been dating for that long?
You're supposed to keep that a secret.
Oh, okay.
So Shannon, who used to be the clinical coordinator here, so she was one of our PTA instructors. She was actually Jon's therapist at Health South, and that's how I got to meet them. So then they came in and started talking, and now she moved on to a PTA school in Florida where there's warmer weather that she really enjoys. But I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their story, and then you guys can ask questions or whatever you like. Awesome sauce. Okay, I'm getting my coffee.
Oh, no.
I know, right?
I'm Jessica, this is my husband Jon.
I'm Jon.
He was in an accident in 2010. He was about 25,
Whoa.
I think.
Sorry, too close.
25 when his accident happened. He just came home from Iraq. He was a passenger on a four-wheeler, and the driver had wrecked, and he went headfirst into railroad stones. So he had brain injury. It affected his right side of his body.
Yeah, go hold on that side.
So he went, they lifelined into Hershey. He was in Hershey for almost a month, where he was in a coma for, well, total, he was almost 3 months in a coma total. They
Induced coma or?
part of it. I mean, he was in a coma, but he was also induced too.
She took advantage of me.
What other injuries did he have besides just the head injury?
He had massive facial fractures, I think a punctured lung, and I think that was it of his injuries mostly. I mean, his ear, most of it was head, like face and head. With his ear was almost ripped off. It was really put on.
Whoa!
And so he had a feeding tube put in, and
Jon, that's Bird.
Bird, hi, Bird.
Hi.
Bird's word! Bird's word!
Do you so much feeding playhouse?
No. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
he's lazy jokester. He didn't notice that already. This was not his demeanor before his accident. He was very quiet, only spoke if he was spoken to kind of person. But he had a feeding tube, he had a trach. Then after Hershey, they also had him like on cooling blankets. When he was in a coma, they had him like on a cooling blanket too. Like it was freezing in the room because I do remember that too. Then they moved him from there to the LTAC Health South building, which is like an acute care where they kind of take care of him because he was still on like a breathing machine and his feeding tube and stuff. He was still in a coma in the LTAC, and
probably the third or fourth at AFL.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm the boss.
She keeps you in line.
And he was in the LTAC, and that's when he started to, I think, he started to come out of his coma. And the doctors wouldn't believe me. They didn't listen because they thought I was imagining him moving and stuff. So they wouldn't believe me. And then I even videoed it, and they still didn't believe me. They thought I was moving his arm in the back. I hated his neurologist there. So after that, they finally did see him moving and stuff, and then they moved into the 2-story house south, which that's when they started his physical therapy and stuff. And he started coming out of his coma more. I guess in the LTAC, he started kicking his legs, like his good leg, his left side. He started kicking it up and down and stuff and moving. And then he couldn't talk right
And then my
away.
total leg.
He couldn't talk yet. He was still, his voice didn't come back for a while after he woke up. And the first word was the F word, obviously. Started popping off the F word a lot.
That was his first word.
Oh my gosh, the F word was like his only word.
What the fuck you on?
He would scream that, and everybody could hear down the halls and stuff. So they did do physical therapy, and it was pretty intense at physical therapy because he just came out of his coma, so he was kind of like contracted and stuff, so they had to stretch him, and walking was painful. He hated every second of it. I mean, he couldn't talk at first, but you could tell he hated every second of it. Then he did finally get his voice back, and like I said, he was cursing and could express himself a little more. And then they moved him. Well, eventually, he was in the in the 2-story for a while, and they finally did, like after 6 months total in the hospitals, he moved to outpatient, and then he was even worse because he would get really violent and hit and punch and kick and spit.
She's like, my poor hair, she does that.
He tried to jump out of the car.
So sexual.
He busted my car windshield with his hand. He tried to put my car in park while I was driving.
I do that too.
He tried to jump out the car doors.
Kinda don't work.
He he pulled the fire alarm at the outpatient therapy. He would yell and scream. If they didn't have his pants right, he would throw a fit because they would give him wedgies and stuff.
Yeah, I was perfect. I'm not perfect. No.
You look sharp.
And I swear. I yell at her.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
He used to. But he's come a long way from where he was to now. With his anger and violence and stuff, he has come a long way with that.
And Jess has a nursing background, so she would monitor his meds. And tell me about that. What
He
they
took
were-
a lot of medicines. At first, when he first came home, I had to give him like that a blood thinner in his shots in his belly. He took like 20 some medicines a day. It was a ridiculous amount of medicine. They had his medicine wrong in the hospital when he was there. They had him on too much iron, which backed him up, and then I got upset, and the next day he was off of like 3 medicines when I reported him. A lot of times they didn't want me to stay in the hospital. I slept in the hospital with him, and they tried to tell me that I wasn't allowed to stay there. And then a guy nurse came and pulled me aside and said, they're not allowed to tell you you have to leave. So I never left after that. I slept there, but some of the nurses hated it because I'd sleep there with him. But I don't think that he would have gotten as good as he is if I didn't stay with him, because they don't take good care of people as you would, you know. Like in your loved one, like they just kind of, they would have probably left him laying a pissy diaper for hours if I changed him, like when he was wet, anytime he was wet. So I don't like a lot of the people in the I mean, they do a good job, like the nurses. It's more of the upper people that are not really nice, I guess. So
They forget that they're working with people.
yeah,
They see you as like a checklist, not
Right.
a person sometimes.
right.
But the scary thing is, it's nice to get their perspective, but to see how much you have to be a patient advocate for yourself. And what's sad is people that don't have a medical background or knowledge and think that this is acceptable or okay, or don't look at their charts or check the meds to see if they're over medicated or if they have, because sometimes you have a cardiologist, you have a neurologist, you have maybe you have an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and I've seen this with my patients, and maybe they're not all communicating, and you have meds that are going to contradict each other that can be lethal. So it's just something to think about for you, because nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We would wish and hope that our doctors are infallible, but we know that unfortunately everyone's human. Tell me about your VA experience then. So, because you went from outpatient and then you took some time off, right, from therapy a little bit, or did you go right from outpatient to the VA?
We had to stop a little while because he was getting really violent. So they had me stop bringing him because it was transferring him in the car wasn't safe as much because of him trying to jump out and stuff. So we did stop for a little bit, and then he seemed to be getting a little better, but he still had like his mood swings were terrible. So I did finally take him to the VA, and he hated it. He hated it every moment at the VA in Lebanon. Just
To get there, I had gone after.
well, it was a long drive.
Yeah,
It was like an hour drive, and then he was there for almost 3 hours with
Take
therapy.
the whole time now.
And the physical therapy, if he doesn't like a therapist, then you know it, because he wouldn't do it for him. He liked his what's the hand?
OT.
Yeah, he liked OT. He didn't like the PT, and he liked his speech therapist. But the physical therapist, he didn't like him at all. So he would give him a hard time and wouldn't do the therapy.
Randy touched me too.
No, he.
Yeah, I've been up here. You've been here.
I'm left with you, brother.
But he didn't like his physical therapist at all, so he would never do it for him half the time. And when he did, he would get angry and start yelling, and then we'd eventually leave because he just wouldn't do it. So he gave up. So we did stop going to the VA after maybe a few weeks. We didn't last there very long. And then we went to Dreyer. Dreyer was great with him. They had Mike. There was a guy that worked with him. He was so good with John. He loved going to Dreyer. He looked forward to it. So it really depends on the therapist if you like them or not. I think that had a big thing to do with him going to therapy.
And Mike was a graduate from our program, so he was.
So she does help out sometimes.
Sometimes I do something right.
Yeah.
But he moved,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Baby. Aww. But he's super, super nice. But moved to a Carolina. Was that
Yeah.
right?
One
One of the Carolinas. But you saw him for over a year, I think, right?
Yeah.
So they were working, walking, stretching you out.
They made him do like an arm bike and a pedal bike.
Because for a while John wasn't walking. I'll make him walk here in a little bit, but he can.
Yeah.
That's a good what?
No.
You're right. So, yeah. it used to be much worse that it was actually like clenched like a fist. So it is better. So how far can you?
Well, once he stretches it open, he can get it further, but he needs to stretch it.
Yeah, well, yes!
There you go. So, and he had been getting shots, correct, of Botox?
Yeah, he was getting Botox in his arm and his leg.
And you have a splint, but you don't like to wear it, right?
Well, he uses a ball now. He has a ball
Okay.
that he holds at night.
It's not these.
Well, I'm glad. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
So how much motion do you have in that? It's getting there. And any pain, John?
when I do this lower, it's not like tongue pain, it's a lower pain.
Just tight?
Yeah, tight.
Yeah.
She helped me and don't.
Right.
I'm fine.
What about your leg now?
Well, she does kind of hard because I have that when I'm showing.
So when you have that, is that because of weakness with
Well,
fitness,
that's-
trouble lifting the?
That's for my ankle, so I don't twist. My foot don't twist.
Yeah, because he holds his foot like in.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's more, he has a lot of tone in there rather than it's not that he can't lift it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he can't lift his feet very high either. When he can't do that that one he can, but this one he can't do it very far
Yeah.
when he has it off or anything
Yeah.
either. Because that it just doesn't. It doesn't want to.
And then you can see my foot. It's almost to hell.
Because he drags it some,
Yeah.
like on steps. He gets mad that his shoes get messed up.
Yeah.
We go through a lot of
They're not
shoes.
good. I look classic still.
Have you been down in the man cave at all?
No.
Why not? You can go up and down steps. You're lazy.
It's hard to right go. I don't know. It's hard to I don't like going down because I don't want to fall.
Yeah.
It's not bad going up, but it's just going down because I don't want to fall down the stairs. It'll be quick, but I'm going to.
Well, it would be quick. And they're in the process of, they've gotten some land, so they're going to be building a
Well,
house.
hopefully.
Well, I'm sure it will. work out.
Eventually, but
Yeah.
Right side, because everything else.
Gonna build and then have babies.
You got up and go, man! Whatever I'm thinking of, horse this help. I'm saying,
You wanna help us, you want them to help build your house?
no, they want to help us get a baby.
Oh, they wanna help you out, baby comes forward. No, I think you're good.
I see it, you want to help me?
She told me she did.
Tell them, you're fine. Tell them about my favorite story is the cats. What was it, the cat? Did you blame it on the cat? No, you didn't blame it on the cat. When you were mad at Jess in
oh,
bed.
you know, and if I didn't do something immediately, like when he asked me to do it, he was in bed and he said he had to go to the bathroom and I said, you need to wait a minute because our cat was laying with him in our bed and John took it upon himself to pee all over the bed and on the cat. Wow, because I didn't get there in time.
I see, I need to go to the bathroom.
He was mad that I didn't come right then and he decided to pee
Seconds count.
Just-
Seconds count.
all over the place. He doesn't do it now, thank
Yeah.
God, but he did do it
You
then.
wait, this baby, and if it's a boy, karma is gonna come back. They're gonna get
Hopefully you don't have me bad.
Little-
They say corn are fed for opening out of that.
The baby's allowed, you are not allowed.
I compete with them.
I mean, he did a lot of bad things. If I took him to the grocery store and he was ready to leave, he would scream the F word as loud as he could just so he would leave the grocery
That's bad.
store.
I'm so proud of myself, but it's alright.
Oh dear Lord.
I didn't think it was funny. I'd take a kid to the front of the store now. Oh, fuck it! Oh, fuck it!
I'll keep it out.
It could be censored.
I'm good.
Alright, so
Yeah.
tell me what you like best about therapy and tell me what you like least about therapy.
Well, see, I like Mike Teddy. He would always like listen, I don't know, saying listen to me, but it was, if I was someone else, it doesn't mean I like them to listen to me, but I'm saying, well, if like she was in there, she could be lying then, you know what I mean, or he could be lying. Tell the story, I guess. It's not about lying, just tell them they did her and not want to do it, you know?
Yeah. So they listened to you
Yeah.
and how you were feeling,
Yeah.
but
So that's
Mike
right.
knew how to push you,
Yeah, he knew
but
it.
still,
So it's well for a little bit, yeah. So go but not coming, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. And like at the VA, and maybe it's because you guys went only the one time.
Well, I don't like
It
the
was-
VA. The VA I don't like because we're so far away. That's
Well,
the
and it
issue.
was pretty intense, and I think they pushed him pretty hard.
Well, it was
there.
an old guy and he didn't listen to him, like he kind of just said, you have to do this, and that was it. He didn't give like an option or say,
Yeah,
can I
like-
do this for a little bit?
Mike
Then
would
ask
say
me,
you have to
so-
do this, and they work on something close to that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Whatever you have to do that, we work on something close to it.
right. And eventually, maybe get to what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want
yeah,
to do, right. But I heard that you can be lured with gummy fish and boobs.
Well, the good part, I'll say yes. So I know
Shannon,
what's going on.
Shannon would
I
have
see that, gun
in therapy when he was this is when he was still in the Health South outpatient. She would bribe him with like the Swedish fish candies, and they had gummy boobs from Spencer's, and they would bribe him to walk with those and stuff. And he hated those big round balls, and they would make him sit on those. He hated that. That was one thing he didn't like to do. Anyway,
Yeah, that's ball. I did not like balls. I did not like balls.
We
In
do that.
therapy.
Man.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, that's it.
You're a good comedian.
I tried.
You're doing a good job.
He is a dirty one, that's for sure.
He's actually a little calmer though.
Yeah, he sees a therapist, so he has been,
You like her?
he has been doing good with it. But big crowds get him going.
I warned them. They're like,
What?
oh. I'm like, I'll put on a show.
Yeah, true.
So what advice do you have for them as they're becoming therapists?
It's kind of hard because you have to learn the person you're treating, learn that person because everyone's going to be different. So just because I need like, the way I listen to me, doesn't mean every guy you should listen to. Every person you should listen to. Could be, yeah.
I mean, John's obviously was different, and he
Yeah.
had a temper, so some parts you couldn't help. If he was mad, there's nothing you could really
Oh,
do.
no, yeah.
Yeah, his anger is, I mean,
Well, that's just it, the
Yeah.
brain injury in itself, the
so
characteristic.
some parts if you weren't nice
Yeah,
to him, or
she-
if he
she
didn't
can.
like you, then it was,
can.
you wouldn't do it. But usually if they were nice to him, they tried and everything.
She understands.
He
She
did.
understands.
He did pretty good with people that were treated him good and listened to him too. Cause he, like the pants thing, some of them wouldn't listen to him, but Shannon did, and Shannon fixed his pants and then he was good.
And I don't want to hang out with the wang out all the time.
I know, it was more like the wedgie they had at Jack's.
Why they put it till I give a fucking wedgie. I'm sorry.
No, I believe that's when you pulled the fire alarm. I think that was in that.
Well, I'm pants down the phone. Bang, bang.
They listened then?
That was a good reason to pull the phone. Hang on, pants fixed.
So you got sent home too.
Good too.
I had to come get you.
Oh.
I
So what is your biggest challenge, John?
It's kind of hard for me to say because I think everyone's different. So.
Right.
No, what is your?
I know, but everyone's different though. I don't want to tell
But
them
it
that.
doesn't have to be with everybody else. What do you have the most trouble doing?
Have sex.
Walking.
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 Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you want to show them how you walk?
Yeah.
What do you want? A walker?
Yeah, she knows too. Mom's the husband of homeless. They used to be caught up with this now with this. So what's the hospital like now?
Stretching.
Yeah, stretching up at the hospital. We're not complaining the same.
Keep complaining.
Yeah. I fucking hate this shit.
Yeah, that's a little short for you. Sorry about that.
What the fuck?
Hey, will you stop swearing?
That's getting better though.
He does really good, and if he wants to move fast, he can move a little faster, depending on what he's doing. Sometimes I rush him. I'm like, hurry, we gotta go.
But you can, John, I'm gonna pick apart your walking, but you keep going. But you see the decrease bottom in his right leg when he weight bears. And, you know, just a little bit of weakness in the quads and hamstrings. It's not able to maintain the leg. But he has more of an increased tone rather than weakness, which brings him into that abducted, internally rotated plantar flex position of the lower extremity. But he is doing so much better with his walk.
He does pretty good with it.
Is it just tiring, John?
After a while, he can go pretty far, but once he sits down, he is
I get back to
exhausted.
this. I get back to the foot of
Right.
Because he gets caught if he doesn't stay.
Yeah.
And when do you have trouble bending that hip up? I mean, yeah, there you go. Can you bend the hip and knee at the same time like you're marching?
That's what he's doing.
And that's the tone for the synergy that causes difficulty with that. Because that message from the brain to get the muscles to work
Damn,
differently.
son.
I know. Inhibit it. But there was a point where walking was almost impossible.
Yeah.
And his legs were so tight that his balance was off that he couldn't do that. And that was
Yeah,
just a
he
couple
leaned
years
over.
ago. This is. Oh, that's getting canceled.
I do.
She's bored otherwise.
In a good way.
I'd be bored otherwise.
That's true. That is true.
I need to change my battery.
I'm gonna have to take my hand off and go hard and take it off.
His,
Temporal.
See, I heard this
yeah,
side,
his
and I felt this side,
No, other
bottom. Yeah, her on that side, I felt this side on the bottom.
I think there was like some temporal, was it occipital and cerebellum?
I don't know.
I'm judging by where his scars
Right,
are.
yeah.
I wasn't sure.
forget now.
It's been a while. I can't remember. I want
Batteries are
definitely
dead.
some
I
frontal
wouldn't be
lobe
able to videos this afternoon.
That's his mood, and
Because I didn't
in memory.
so it was definitely his front. His brain was more like, they said shook.
So that Q contra Q that we talked about, and it was more the secondary diffuse axonal injury rather
Yeah.
than the primary impact.
That's what.
What do
Yeah,
you,
what she said.
right? Yeah. What do you remember, John?
Whenever, I don't remember my accent per se. Nothing. I don't remember why, what happened or why I was in the accent. I don't remember any of that, but I do remember like kids.
There's nothing you're not supposed to say.
Yeah, no, whatever.
If you don't remember, just say that.
Why? Because it's hard. It's harder for me to remember than not. The thing about, I don't know.
Do you remember being in the hospital at all?
No.
Do you remember like everything like before your accident, like how How's your memory
Yeah.
from that? Do you
Yeah,
remember all that?
See, I don't know until when now. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what that now. But
If you remind him of stuff, he remembers.
yeah,
Well, and that's normal too. Like
Yeah.
you know, I forget things. And
like shoes. Fuck up.
I forgot shoes. You don't like my shoes? They match my
What
sweater.
the hell? I don't know. Yeah, shit, cool.
Whatever. You don't know anything. You're a boy.
Yeah, look at mine.
It's supposed to be spring.
It's supposed to be spring.
Look at our shoes. They look loose.
I know. Well, it's cold and rainy. I just
I'm
have to wear
sorry.
it out. Anybody else have questions?
How long did it take you to be able to walk?
They had him walking in therapy with this weird, like, it almost had like a U shape where his arms would go up on top of it, and it was as tall as his body. So I don't know what they call it.
Everybody.
Yeah, and he used that to walk a little bit in therapy at first. But to walk with a walker like this, it took him probably almost 6 months after his accident to walk with a walker.
How long did you say? I forget. Was he in the hospital?
He was in 6 months.
6
The
months.
outpatient is when they started the
You have that feeling like, how long?
6 months.
Yeah, that was my fault. Sorry.
So you mentioned like that the therapist not really like listening to you and hearing you out was kind of like one real big thing that kind of irked you. Was there anything else that they did that like really kind of just like irked you or got on your nerves while you were there? With any of the therapists?
There was one lady that was really mean, and
She just-
she was the occupational
I thought you
therapist.
said she didn't have patience.
No, she kind of was cold, and she just like would come in and say, John, you have to do this, and he would get so angry with her. But she was the only one that he really gave a hard time to, because she wasn't very nice to him, I don't think.
Okay. So was she the kind of person that's like, all right, it's time to do your this, that, or whatever, and it's just kind of like,
And if
Yeah.
whatever couldn't do it, you know, and then she's all tortured at me for not doing it, you know, and it's like, why?
No, she just kind of made him do it. That's
Yeah, but I'm not doing it. But,
But that was just the one lady. He liked pretty much everybody else, I think. Just when he had his tempers and moods, he'd do that to anybody.
okay.
But it just like, well, and the guy at the VA, he didn't really care for him either. But he wasn't mean to him or anything. He just didn't like him.
So what's like a normal day?
Now or
masturbate. Oh, sorry. I'm good.
So when you let's start in the morning.
I'm sorry.
When do you get up?
It depends on
That
what
bad?
we're doing that day. If
That
we
bad?
have an appointment, we can get up
Oh,
early.
you're good.
And I have to start early, like, say if our appointment's at 9, like we have to be here at 9, I'll get him up at 6. We'll get him at 6 so I can shower, both of us. And then get us ready, and then we'll eat breakfast and kind of go from there to get here on time. I usually have to wake us up pretty early just to get us ready, because sometimes I don't want to get up. I'm not a morning person, not gonna lie.
Thank you.
I don't like to get up in the mornings. But usually after that, it's pretty good.
Oh, shit. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Watches TV, he likes to play on his computer. We have 2 cats that one of them loves to just cuddle. So,
No.
yeah.
Is that the one you peed on?
Yes.
No.
I did bathe him after
Oh, yeah, baby.
I'm sure the cat did not enjoy that part.
No, he did not.
That's where he
After
ate
he peed on him, I bathed him.
you. Yeah. And if don't feed, but I remember.
Well, he peed mostly on, I had those pads, like those hospital pads that we had from the hospital, and he didn't pee on the bed, thank God, but I had to change all the sheets and the blanket, so, and the cat.
But John likes to fish.
Yep, fish and hunt. He was always fish or hunt. Even when he came home from Iraq, he was only home for maybe, a week or two, and he went for 2 weeks to his dad's cabin to go hunting, and there's no cell reception, so he was gone again.
Good laughter, again.
She never loved someone. 2 weeks in Hunter.
Listen to you. He did shoot, right? Like
Yeah.
the last time you were in, so
Yeah.
a couple months ago we
Yeah.
went to the range. Practice shooting again.
Yep, we had a police officer friend that would go with us, and we would he would help him shoot, and some of our other friends that were there would help him shoot and stuff. And he did really good.
It comes
John, which is your dominant side?
I'm not sorry.
It was before,
Right.
right?
I used to bring it not to him.
Has it been a challenge switching from shooting with your left eye or right eye or writing? And
He was
It's gonna be done. I don't like no time.
Yeah.
my babies
He was a,
gone.
I don't know if he was a first hot.
He
He was
took
higher
his-
up.
Yeah.
Or was he just enough?
Well, he was the
I don't have
head
it.
of
It's in there.
at the mall when there was the police, there was a
tried it during
police,
class.
We're here
office
for
there.
CSO,
And after?
which is a community service officer.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because John was working to be a police officer.
No, we'd go there.
Was after he came
Sounds
out,
brilliant.
but he worked for Lower Island Police Department.
Super cool. How's your vision in your right eye?
But like now I can see fine, unfortunately. I'm just kidding, I'm sorry. But I know better than that. That's just lost that. So it's like it's weird. But right now I still can't fine, but this side of a little harder when this side open.
He has
Okay.
third nerve palsy in his right eye.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. What the fuck that means?
He still has 20/20 vision. It's just
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
that like if
So oculomotor.
like if you're looking at his eyes and you cover the one side up, his eye is kind of already, it'll move back to the front. But it's kind of if you're looking at him and you see
Yeah.
it, it'll move. Do you see how it's over farther?
Yes.
But if he closes the one eye, it'll move back over, kind of adjust itself.
Right.
But he has 20/20 vision still.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Um,
got it back.
when you had mentioned like that the temper stuff was a big issue, was that? You also mentioned while you were in the hospital, like you don't remember a whole lot of that. Did the temper stuff kind of go away at the same point you started like remembering stuff again, or was the temper stuff still kind of an issue going on?
He still has a temper now. It's
Okay.
just he controls it better.
Okay.
Before he couldn't control it, and
Right.
he would just lash.
What if I said I can control that?
No, he couldn't control it.
Okay.
Now he has a little better control of it. Before he used to repeat himself a lot, and he still repeats himself, but not as much. He used to say, "What year is this? What year is this?"
What's up? What's up?
Constantly the same thing, like what day is this, and
Okay.
ask me what are we doing, where am I, and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that as much either anymore. He doesn't repeat like the same things because I get so annoyed when he repeats. I'm like, I already told you.
Okay, well that made me wonder too then, like when you did have the temper flare-ups, did you have the feeling as if like you were blacking out almost, where like you almost don't remember the stuff, or was it more just like, it just felt like you were just getting angrier and you just don't know
But
why
see,
as much?
I got angry because I didn't remember the stuff. It's not like I didn't
he thought I was lying to him, like about the year and stuff.
Okay.
And so he was, I think he was more confused because he didn't think it was that year
Okay.
because of the head injury when it happened and how long he was out and stuff. So he kind of didn't think it was real. He would always say, I'm dreaming this a lot.
Okay. So it was more like a frustration kind of thing then.
Yeah, I think so. More, because he'd always, the dreaming thing was like, he didn't think it was real to him.
Okay.
So.
How was it adjusting to his personality changes after the accident?
It was really hard. More of the violence was what was really hard for me at first. Like with his anger and stuff, because he'd bite holes in my clothes. I mean, he'd rip my hair. He'd spit on me. I mean, he would bite. He bit where if he got a hold of my hands, he'd try to break my fingers. I mean, that part was the worst, I think, for me. I mean, now that he doesn't do it, it's a lot better. But that was really stressful with his anger and the mood and stuff, which he's on medicine for too. Like he's on a mood stabilizer, which is
I have pills.
which he doesn't take as much anymore. They weaned him down now. He used to take a lot, but
You take some of that too.
I need some.
Oh.
but that helps him too. And if I feel if we're gonna go in public, like out in like a carnival or something like that, I might give him extra medicine just so he doesn't get upset or frustrated.
Stupid
Cause,
people.
cause he doesn't do well in big like outdoor crowds and stuff.
Anxiety.
And that's part of his PTSD too, like because he gets treated for that also. So the crowds, he doesn't do too well, and he'll run people over. If he's in an electric chair and he's ready to go, he'll run over whoever has to get out.